were Nazified when all the SS boys were brought in here by Cardinal Spellman and J. Edgar Hoover through the Vatican rat lines that existed after the war, and the very same Vatican rat lines that the Zionists use after the war also. So I'm not denying a Jesuit connection, but with regard to your question of JFK and Israel, I did not fully understand the JFK war with Israel, so that will be amended, but I did say that the Jesuits wanted to get rid of Kennedy because Kennedy wanted to end the Vietnam War, and the Jesuits wanted the Vietnam War. They wanted to get rid of Kennedy because in ending the Vietnam War, that would have ended, for the most part, this huge drug trade that the Black Pope runs through his mafia and through his international intelligence community, which is all tied together. It's all one. Furthermore, JFK wanted to splinter the CIA into 1,000 pieces. The CIA was a continuation of the SS. And so, therefore, if he would have done that, he would have broken the Jesuit general's intelligence power in this country. The extension of that, which to a certain degree you have helped me with, is that if JFK would have broken the power of the CIA, he would have broken the power of the Mossad. And that cannot be, because the Black Pope has full intentions of maintaining that nation of Israel in existence until he can have the third Hebrew temple rebuilt for the papacy, for which reason the Zionists deeded the old city to the papacy via Shimon Peres and Yossi Belan in 1993. So yes, I will say that those are the reasons why the Jesuits had Kennedy killed. And furthermore, Kennedy was resisting Cardinal Spellman. He had Diem. He participated in the assassination of Diem, who was a favorite of Cardinal Spellman. That was his inquisitor in Vietnam. And so, therefore, in seeking to end Spelly's war, Kennedy was an enemy of Spellman, and thus the Knights of Malta, which Cardinal Spellman commanded, which included James Angleton, Henry Luce, William F. Buckley, John McCone, the head of the CIA, Cartha DeLoach, the third in command of the FBI, all these knights in key positions at the time of the assassination.
Okay.
Wait, Michael, you asked the last question, and I wanted to get in the same question that I asked you to Eric now, if I could. How have the Jesuits, in your estimation, Eric, come to power modernly? How do they work?
The Jesuits, the High Jesuits, the Black Pope, controls all high-level Freemasonry. They wrote all the first 25 degrees in the College of Clermont in 1754, according to Masonic sources that I quote in my book. They wrote the last 8 degrees when they were taken and protected by Frederick the Great of Prussia and created the Supreme Council of the 33rd degree. So the Jesuits exercised their control over nations via high-level Freemasonry and the Knights of Malta. And this is your connection to the Supreme Court, particularly the Warren Supreme Court, that validates abortion, removes prayer, removes Bible reading. They do it by the power of their Jesuits at Georgetown University using high-level Freemasonry. And Freemasonry has the tie to Zionism.
Okay, are you finished, Eric?
Yes.
Okay, I wanted to ask Michael, based on what a statement he made, and I didn't have it on my question list, but since Michael brought it up, why do you think, and I'm interested in this as a journalist too, and not just a radio broadcaster, but someone looking at the truth, why is it so extraordinary to consider the fact that the Catholic Church and the Vatican may be a problem here, when maybe just some facts are interesting here? They own probably a quarter of the gold bullion in the world. They have land holdings that are immense. Why is it so extraordinary to think that?
Well, I didn't say it was extraordinary to think that the Catholic Church should be, quote-unquote, a problem. I just said that basically, from what I have read in Mr. Phelps' book, I don't know a great deal about this, much of the history that he's talking about, so I can only accept his word on it just as his readers can and the listeners can. But I do know that in reading his account of the JFK assassination, I found some egregious errors. I found egregious reliance upon pro-Zionist sources that have been refuted elsewhere. And as Mr. Phelps has acknowledged here, he said there was a major flaw in his own work that has now caused him to reconsider it. I guess my concern is that. I know a lot of, on one side of my family, they were very devout Catholics. I was raised without religion, so I have no particular bias there. And in fact, in what studying I have done of the Catholic Church, it's my belief that as of the Vatican II conference, the Zionist elements played a major part in shifting the Church. So in fact, it was the Zionists who came in and infiltrated the Catholic Church, if anybody infiltrated anything. I just like to say that, like Mr. Phelps suggests, that the modern-day CIA, he just said here in his program, the modern-day CIA is a kind of like an evolution of the Nazi SS. Nothing could be further from the truth. As all histories of the CIA know, critical writers critical of the CIA know, the CIA evolved from the Office of Strategic Services here in the United States. The Office of Strategic Services was a nest of Zionists and communists, not Jesuits.
The Office of Strategic Services, if I might respond, was headed by a Knight of Malta named Wild Bill Donovan. And his first allegiance was to Pius XII. And his right-hand man was another Knight of Malta named James Angleton, the man you rightly finger as one of the key people in the Kennedy assassination.
Well, now in the Kennedy assassination, he also, but this doesn't take into consideration the fact that in 1948 the State of Israel was established, and James Angleton became the liaison to Israel, a very jealous pro-Israel liaison to Israel in the CIA. Mr. Donovan faded from the scene, and I think he may have even been dead by 1963. I'm not clear on that, but the question of the fact that he's a member of the Knights of Malta, he could also be a member of the Rotary Club, but that doesn't mean the Rotary was behind the Kennedy assassination. Another thing too, you talk about the mafia being an element of the Jesuits. Well, I saw someone recently, one of your supporters, criticized me for saying that the Mossad was involved in the Kennedy assassination and saying it was very clear that the mafia involvement was the outgrowth of the Jesuits. Well, you know, the thing is, as I pointed out on my program, and I'll point out here again, if you look at the history of the Chicago Mafia as written by Sam Giancana's nephew in his book Double Deal, written with Michael Corbett, he makes it very clear that the real head of organized crime in Chicago was a Jewish-born pro-Zionist gentleman by the name of Hyman Larner, who was a partner of Meyer Lansky. Neither of those fellows were Jesuits, and I have never seen any evidence to suggest that Jewish organized crime figures like Hyman Larner and Meyer Lansky, among many, many others, were acting as agents of the Jesuits. There is just absolutely no evidence to support that.
I guess one question I want to ask both you guys, and it lingers on my mind, and it's this. We know that if we look into history, that a lot of history has been changed. I mean, you can sit in your 12th grade history class and now go back and read your history books, and I'm appalled. I mean, I wasted a lot of time. History has been changed. Many things aren't as they seem. And how deep do both you guys really want to go when it comes to finding the truth? And this is a real open-ended question for both of you, because I want to go right to the bottom of it and find out. I don't care who it is. But you know something? I don't usually, when I deal with these people in government, when they say left, I look right. And I wonder if both of you subscribe to that, and if both of you can comment on what you think about. You guys research everything, but how do you ever think that maybe a lot of this stuff has been contrived, and what is really going on? Whoever wants to answer can answer.
Well, I believe that the Council on Foreign Relations controls the press, controls both parties, controls the banking, controls academia, and the CFR is controlled by the Archbishop of New York in the days of the Kennedy assassination, Francis Cardinal Spellman. St. Patrick's Cathedral was called the Powerhouse. That was the place that all of New York was run. And the ADL is subordinate to the Archbishop of New York. And thus, today, it's the Archbishop Edward Cardinal Egan who runs New York and thus runs the country via the CFR. This is the Jesuit maxim. One of the Jesuit maxims is you rule through a trusted third party. And the trusted third party in America is the CFR. The trusted third party in Britain is the Royal Institute for International Affairs. And so as they rule through this trusted third party, they stay behind the scenes while their lobbyists and others do all their bidding for them. Men like that wicked Charles Schumer, 33rd degree Jewish Freemason, member of the CFR. Men like William F. Buckley, Jr., member of the CFR, Knight of Malta, Skull and Bones. the Bushes. Prescott Bush Jr. is a Knight of Malta. His brother, George H.W.